Broadcasting from our subterranean studios in beautiful Paradise Valley, Pennsylvania, it's Business and Brain Tumor Talk, a unique show with topics to educate, inspire, and implement. Without further ado, here's your host, Rick Franzo.
Thank you, Amanda, and welcome to Business and Brain Tumor Talk. This is so much fun. This is when we did the first show with Rod Bauman, a local radio legend, which he loves when we term him that because he's a very humble man. We did this in the end of January of 2025. It was published February 1st, so it's about 6.5 months from the recording date right now that we're doing. And we decided at the end of that show that there had to be a part two. And when we were chatting before we started to record and everything else, there may be a part three. It's a cliffhanger, so stay tuned for that. So I'm so pleased to introduce Rod Bauman, local radio legend, and the theme of this show is Rod's Box of Treasures, or his Pandora's Box. So we're going to be looking through a little bit of Rod's memorabilia that is important to him, and we're going to go back to the golden days of radio. Rod, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad that the initial show was well received and it was worthy of me to come back. But I'm not that legend that you call me. I'm just a humble person who is so proud to have done what I did for so many years that made me happy and made a little money with it too.
No,
I'm just a guy. Just a guy. I used to wear headphones.
You just wear headphones. We don't have to wear headphones.
And sit in a room by himself and talk to thousands of people.
You don't do that now, right?
It's really funny. I used to think about when I'd be in the studio and I'd say, you know what? This is actually a little weird. I'm by myself sitting here in front of a microphone and I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself, but you're talking to the person out there. I mean, it's little things that go through your head when you're, in the studio, but love the job, love the career, and I'm glad to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So long as you're not doing that talking to people when you're in your home, your wife is going to be a little suspicious and you're retired.
Well, I have, and all radio guys know what I'm saying. I have talked up the intro of songs playing on the radio while I'm driving in my car. And usually I hit the post. Old radio guys know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is so much fun, and so glad that you came back. So the floor is yours, Senator. Where we left off was your days, and just recap us real quick. I'm going to post up the episode that we did in January, February. So without spending too much time there, I want to see what you brought with you today.
Okay, I didn't bring a lot. I told you, I packed everything away, and I found some stuff. Just a few items, but some of these mean a lot to me. And it has to do what we talked about. Going back to, when I started out, at the Jersey Shore and then into New Jersey and then working at FMV and R&J and then back at FMV a little bit and at a radio for a bit. And then when I moved to the Poconos is when I came to WVPO the first time. And then from there, it was WPMR, the rock station. And after that, WHCY, the country station over there in New Jersey. And then they were part of the same company as VPO and SBG. And they swapped me and sent me back to VPO after about 3 years. And from there it was the Light 107. And we wrapped it up at WSBG. So that's kind of the rest of the trail.
That's a trail. That's a trail and a half, right? And it was
did both, in different formats too. And still the best stories are the ones early on, but
Absolutely. Yeah. So what did you bring with you today?
What did I bring with me? Okay. I mentioned early on, I graduated high school and then went to Career Academy School of Broadcasting in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And it was from there I learned about radio, spent about 5 months there, and made an audition tape, sent it out, trying to find jobs everywhere, soon after, and this is it. This is it.
Wow.
And here's proof. WCAD AM 920, Washington, D.C., this is it. It's a reel of tape. I would not try and spin it anywhere, but this is where it started. You know, they had us make audition tapes, and I brought that with me. Um, I also told the story how after my first part-time job, I was going to the Jersey Shore, working weekends, driving 3.5 hours from Quakertown down, and then coming back. And then I took a full-time, factory job in Quakertown, because I needed to make money. After a short time, I left the radio job and I concentrated on the full-time job. So, because I had a student loan I had to pay and other things, but I kept looking. And my father, in late summer of '73, in the Sunday morning call, saw a little ad about a radio station that was going on the air in Blairstown, New Jersey. And he saw this little ad, he mentioned it to me, and I still have it. This is it. I don't know how well it shows, but that's
Wow.
it. Yeah.
So read a little bit of the radio ad for us, if you would.
Just a little article, and it mentioned that the station was going on the air. Some information is going to be an oldie station, which back in 1973 was a new format. You had CBS FM and CAU FM in Philly doing the format,
Really?
playing
Yeah.
50s, 60s, and 70s. And they were going to do it there. So next day I called them up, got an interview. Next thing you know, I got a part-time job. And from there, a full-time job. And we moved on. And it was from there that I started to get a real career where I part-time, full-time, and took off from there. But this ad is where it started.
Wow. And what year was that, Rod?
1973. I think it was August 1973. The article said September 9th they wanted to go on the air, but it didn't happen. It was at the end of October when FMV first went on the air in that train station over in Blairstown. Now, they had a big ceremony when that station went on the air. Unlike some other stations, they kind of just, put them on. Well, somehow I got this. Somebody gave it to me. The itinerary for that whole program for the sign-on.
Wow.
For the sign-on. Yeah. The owner, Nick DiRienzo, he's the initial. There's some congressmen, and Father McNulty, I think, was, yeah, the whole itinerary. You can see,
Did you just say Bob McNulty?
I think it's Father McNulty was part of
Father
it.
McNulty.
Yeah, Father. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course some of the management, from the station there and the local dignitaries, they were all talking, and I got the different segments. I don't know how I got this, but somebody, I guess, gave it to me. And somewhere along the way, of course, they gave it to me, and that's how I got it. But I don't know. It's here. And
that's such a great memory to look back on, right?
And I've got a few more things here. Moving on to my next stop, WRNJ, Hackettstown, New Jersey. I was there when they put that station on the air. And this is a sales brochure. I don't know how well it's coming in there, but this is one of their sales packages from 1978.
Wow.
Yeah. It's got the rate cards in here. It's got station information. I actually have sales packages for most of the stations I worked for, including a little one from that first job, WSLT, down in Ocean City, New Jersey. So I got a lot of stuff like this. The other stuff I have here, I got bumper stickers. Well, here's one from FMV 106. R&J, when they were just AM when I was there. There.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got other ones from PMR.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember we first put the rock format on AM. The AM difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
960.
Rocking the AM.
Rocking the AM.
rocking the AM, waiting for the FM signal to come on the air.
PMR 107.9. I worked
Yeah.
at both.
Yeah, yeah. And let's see what else. No, I got this from Country Station HCY, another bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Oh, okay. And going back to PMR, this is a
You
collector's
got a
item.
t-shirt. I see it.
This is a collector's item.
This is a collector's item. Yeah.
Is it Sean?
Yeah, it is. The Poconos
Okay.
Rock Station, WPMR 107.9.
Now, you turn it around and you have the signatures of all the jocks who were there at the time, the full timers anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Right
who's
there.
wow?
Yeah.
So who was on there that you that you recognize the signatures from? Is that me?
No, I don't know.
I don't think so. I was part time. I only did a Sunday show on
Yeah.
PM.
And we have Robin Lee on here.
Yeah, I remember Rob.
We have Mason Hall.
Mm-hmm.
We have Kitty.
Yeah. Oh, boy, this is bringing back. Yeah.
How about Roadkill Bill?
Roadkill Bill.
He did the traffic and news in the morning. Now there's a name here I don't recognize. Pat Butler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Steve Moyer, maybe?
That doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell with me either. I don't know. But that's it.
So that was where, like, we did the part-time. So we were on in the Sunday. So, like, Dan was on Sundays. I was on Sundays. Yeah.
And my Sunday shift was my day number 6.
Yeah. You did 6 days.
Full time, you work 6 days a week. Yeah. And you're day on the air. The weekends were always, you just did your air shift unless you had something else you didn't get done. Me, I worked Sunday. Some of the guys worked Saturdays, and then around us would be part-timers. So
yeah, like myself. So that's where we actually officially met. So gosh, Dan was there. Dan what was his name? LaRose. Dan LaRose.
He did the what is it? The mountain show, Thunder on the Mountain, or something. It was
like local bands and things.
Local bands on Sunday night. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mean Joe Buck, he did Mean Men on Monday at night. I think he would track an album one night. We did a lot of really cool things back then. Because back then you didn't have the internet, you didn't have social media. Everything was radio or TV. And you do something like that. People, you track an album, a new album, and sometimes they try and record it. So.
And the newsroom, they had the teletype in there, which would come and you get the AP news, and it was on the teletype and all that. Yeah. It was those were the days. I could still smell like the room. I still hear like the magnet going over when we would erase cards.
Erase the card.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Remember the teletype, and you always had to check if you were in there at night or whatever. You'd be the guy checking it, and you would pray it didn't run out of ink, because that was a messy job. That was a messy job.
I wasn't qualified to do that.
It wasn't just putting a cartridge in, but you were expected to do it. At least I was, and so you just pray. Oh, it's getting a little light. Let's pray. I got another hour and get out of here before it. Stop.
Let somebody else change it. Yeah, absolutely.
It was not like changing an ink cartridge today. It was something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those were some really good stuff. What else did you break?
I got a few more things here. I'm looking here. Again, this is PMR. It's a Super Bowl party we did. What was this? Like 1975, in conjunction with the World Wrestling Federation. It was at Shawnee Mountain.
Shawnee Mountain, yeah.
Shawnee Mountain. I think it was the Chargers and the 49ers that year, but I'm not sure. Well, PMR, if you remember, it was sold and everybody was let go. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is my last playlist from my last show.
Oh, read what's on the playlist. That would
What's
be
on the
awesome.
playlist?
Read it.
Well, let's see what we got here. Well, we started with the Rolling Stones, bitch, and then Love Spreads from Stone Roses, Bowie, um, Space Oddity, Jimi Hendrix, Frosttown Traffic, Billy Joel, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Deep Purple, Woman in Sponge, uh, Cloud, Nirvana, The Man Who Sold the World,
Yeah.
and then Fleetwood Mac, Black Hole Sun,
Mm-hmm.
and all the way down, and then we go back to my last hour. And I knew we were going off the air, so bye bye love, the car. Last two songs, Come Sail Away Styx, and my
Sure.
last one was Skating Away in the Thin Ice of a New Day with Jethro Tull. And that was
Wow.
1 o'clock, 5 o'clock that evening. Is when they actually pulled the plug, and we were done. But what we had done that day is March 10th, day after my birthday, 1995. Yeah, 1995, and we just announced on the air we got a prize closet full of stuff. Come on over. That little building up there on Heath Lane
Yeah.
was full of people. You couldn't walk around. People were outside. People were trying to figure out, well, how can we keep you going? You can't. It's corporate. It's big time radio buying the little guy, and we were all let go.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Oh, I got something else here.
This is fascinating.
Oh, I get. It's just I didn't. Now it's heart shaped. It's a
Okay.
vinyl record sent to me by the record company. It's Always by Atlantic Star.
Yeah.
And it's heart shaped. See? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
saved
so
that.
amazing.
Yeah. One other thing I got. This is from Light 107 when we were playing. We were a Christmas music station at Christmas,
Mhm.
and this is one of the mailers we had. You got Shania Twain, Rod Stewart, and Phil Collins.
There you
who
go.
were who were some of the top artists at the time.
Yeah.
But and truthfully, a lot of, I don't know if I said it here, but most of what I have, like I mentioned, is stuff that only I care about. I got memos, I got photos. I didn't know how well they would show up here if I brought more photos. But I got memos, I got playlists that I used to, I would type out and send them to the record companies every week, and I got reams of them from the early stations,
That's
and
so cool.
I got memos, ratings. I got ratings from that go back,
So the
and
Arbitron ratings that we used to get. Yeah.
Arbitron ratings. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Everything we did back, it was before social media, and
Right.
you weren't worrying about clicks, on your website or whatever. And when that started to change, about probably mid 2000s, I remember when we actually got websites, SPG. We got a website, and we found, it was hit or miss what we wanted to do, but we kind of, we figured it out. They figured it out and presented to us. And one of the interesting things I did back then, this would have been 2005 ish, Nassau Broadcasting owned as SBG. They required us to build, this is before streaming was still kind of new, as far as sources. I mean, the stations would stream on their website, just started to do that. But what they had us do is build side channels on the
Mm.
website. So if you go to sbg.com, whatever it was at the time, you could click down and you could find another channel, like you would stream, a channel now,
Right.
like Spotify or anything. And we were just, build something that related to AC. So we were light rock. So I did a smooth jazz channel, side channel. I
Hmm.
did a wave of the 80s side channel with new wave music.
Right.
Um, even put Iggy Pop on there. And the third one was um, American Idols. And I would
Hmm.
take the ones who won American Idol and anybody else, and I just put them on. And there were side channels, that we did. And
Yeah.
along the way, they changed that. They're all the streaming would change, however we were doing it. And as new upgraded websites came along, they kind of did away with that. But that was interesting. You'd go in there and you're loading songs in a separate channel, But
That's awesome. Yeah, that's how it's kind of that evolution, right? We came,
uh-huh.
and part of the intro. You came before me,
Yeah,
for sure. But we came from reel to reel, right?
right.
And then we had, the vinyl, of course, and then you
Mhm.
would go to the digital and
Yeah.
everything, and it's just, it is what it is now, and the sales, I'd love to talk about what your view was with the radio sales guy. You made a really good point. There was no social media. There was no. Uh, we had to go out there. It was boots on the ground, and so I know in my career, which was very compartmentalized, based on compared to yours, I met some really really interesting salespeople. They
Mhm.
were they were just as off the cuff as the jocks were.
Mhm. But they most of them had a different mindset. It was all about making money.
Hmm.
And of course, and we were on the creative side. We just wanted to get paid. And it was thing I always found radio has kind of reminded me of what's it like to be a professional athlete, say a professional baseball player, where you start out doing something like a baseball player, you're playing sports, you grow up, you move up different levels, but you basically are doing it for free and would do it for free.
Right.
Then there comes a point, just like radio, you get into it. Oh man, I'm just glad to be on the air. They're paying you $110 a week. Oh great. You're taking home $93, or whatever. And but the job and your position changes. You're the baseball player, and so I think you find out it's a business pretty soon. And then you look at it more as a business and not just playing the game. Broadcasters too, especially radio. And it's kind of like you start. Oh man, I love this. I do this for free. Da 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 da. But you got to get paid, especially you get a family. As time goes on, it all becomes more of a business, and later on, it was such a business. It's what it is. You
It's
realize it is a business.
It
So
just seemed like it was more fun when it was before. And this is kind of, maybe I'm looking through it through, the jaded glasses or
mhm,
kaleidoscope glasses, but it just seemed I gained a lot of my business acumen, if you really dig down and get to it, through my time in radio, and not being on the sales side, but seeing the sales side and how they would go and they would sell a package, right? A commercial package, a promo package of somebody. And then we, as the jocks, had to make it happen on the production side and everything else. And a lot of times they didn't really mix very well. And we were like, why are we doing that and everything else? But they were out there to make money. And, that's really where it is now. And it seems like with these stations that are acquiring
mhm,
other stations, or bigger entities that are taking the smaller entities, and it's across the board. It
right.
just seems like something might have gotten lost a little bit, right?
Well, it's different now. It's just a different world. You
Yeah.
have companies, you have big companies with multiple radio stations, multiple markets. It's a different world now. A lot of stuff is done digitally that we would do with paper back in the day. But the salesmen and the talent, their goal should be the same, to make the client happy.
Yep.
And you got to understand that. And sometimes the way it gets done, sales has this idea but that's why, like, nowadays most stations, at least we did here in town, we had a copywriter took care of that. He wrote everything up, he gave it to us. Didn't really deal with the salesperson, But everything went into traffic department and the copywriter, and they would take care of it. Gave it to the jock. Jock cut it per the instructions, and if it had to be redone, you did it, or you were good to go, and you just load it in. Load it into a computer now. No editing, no dubbing, no. So I mean, there is dubbing, but it's a different way.
It's
You know.
different, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're almost out of time. This is almost like a half an hour, which is just crazy.
Wow.
Are we going to do a part 3?
We'll see.
So
I don't know what else. You know what it is? We've covered a lot. I mean, there
we
might be
did.
other.
I really have a feeling, Rod, you have more stories in you that people would really be intrigued with, because that's really what it is. When I look at radio, or I look at just TV, and
Mhm.
there's talk shows, and I don't watch much TV, but I got to tell you, I have no idea who anybody is anymore, and it makes me feel a little bit out of touch. And this is kind of a walk back, which makes me feel,
Yeah.
and so many of our listeners, makes us feel good, right? Because it's familiar, it's almost like home. So, would you join us for a part 3 in the future?
Sure. Sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
as I
great.
said before, probably the best stories I have would go back to the early mid '70s into the '90s, and that's when then the companies got bigger, things changed, it became more corporate. But I mean, yeah, they were good times. I mean, I still got some friends back in the '70s that I think about, and they were great people I worked with. Some I'm connected on Facebook, and people I got to know, and it was good times. Maybe, yeah. I mean,
Excellent.
that's that big train station. I could tell some more stories, but it's I don't know. You already know about the bomb scare. So
But
uh,
all of our listeners, really, they need the opportunity to catch up on that. So uh, we're going to do a part 3. That's TBD in the future,
to be
maybe early
yeah.
2026. We'll see what happens. Um, any final thoughts, Rod, as we kind of wrap this up? Anything you want our listeners to know about, and our viewers, actually? I say listeners, but they're
Yeah.
actually watching this. It's so old hat for me to say that. What would you like them to know? What's a good message to leave them with? Because
It's kind of
this is part 2 of Rod, the
yeah.
local radio legend. And I was joking with Rod, this time it's personal,
Yeah.
like it's always that sequel. But what's something that you'd like everybody to really know?
And
What's a take?
I think a lot of what I said at the end of part 1 about people, because this is about we're talking about my radio career. Um, but it's always about, like, we started out the early days, and how you start out a business, how you start out work in a field working with some kind of profession, and some of what you come across. And it's what I experienced, and it's what people told me. It was like, you know there's always going to be BS in your field, no matter what it is, and it's how you deal with it determines how you move forward.
Yeah,
And also, another thing that I've always lived by, and this is what I tell some of the young people, people who would start working with us, at especially the SVG VPO light, the later years, they were new. um, Nothing worth doing is easy, and that's what I found out. Nothing worth doing is easy,
yeah,
and you got to want it. Find something, like I said before, something you like, something you love, do it, pursue it until you can't do it anymore. You know, I loved
yeah.
it. I had great times, but I'm telling you, I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. I really, I always thought I would die with my headphones on, but I just have no desire to go back on the air. And I,
Well,
I
yeah.
lived and breathed radio for 47 years. So
Well, this is the next chapter, and so it's always good. It's part of that evolution. Rod, so great to have you here with us
thank you.
again. Appreciate you giving your time for not only me, but of course, for most importantly, our viewers of the show. And if you want more information on Rod, well, it's going to be coming, because he's going to do part 3. So this isn't over. We can make this a whole series. And so
Yeah.
I have some thoughts. I don't know if you're on board, but we're going to make it happen. And
Okay.
so
Maybe we
next
can
time,
talk
let's
about.
talk about what you had said, the early years, and let's talk about some Floyd, because we have a
Oh, Pink
common
Floyd,
love of
yeah.
Pink Floyd. And so,
Uh-huh.
and we would need a whole show for that, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
But Rob,
We can
thank
do
you.
that.
Yeah,
Then again,
absolutely.
I encourage people to check out part one, which you posted February 1st.
Yeah, and we're going to share that out again. And
Okay.
so, and it's
Okay.
uploaded onto all the major streaming channels. And
All right.
this is great. This was a walk back in time, which we need from time to time. And Rod, thank you so much for being here with us
Thank
again.
you. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, same here. This has been Business and Brain Tumor Talk, and we'll see you next time. Stay gold. Peace.